everybody, it's Lauren again from RV's very own Society, and welcome to the Tyrant's legendary walkthrough of Halo Wars. Now today's mission is Shield World, just like Ghost of Onyx.
I'm sure we got like a 10-mile radius, just got an instant week. We got more.
This is her.
Yes, Hierarch. This is the one I observed.
Such a frail thing. You would hardly think them a threat.
I demand to know why I'm being held.
Demand.
Arbiter, a human ship has arrived and is closing in on the entrance portal.
Get the Hierarch to High Charity, intercept that human ship, and destroy it at once.
Nothing but ocean.
Are you sure this is it, Serena?
Fairly sure. Initiating a deep scan. Docking. Cleansing. That's not right. Captain, you're not going to like this.
Serena! Captain, we've got company! All hands engage. Serena, I've got troops out there still. Get them back on board now.
Captain, I can only hold this position a few minutes at the most.
Now, Serena!
Recalling surface squad so we can all die together. Aye, sir. 3 platoons inbound, designating them Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie.
Red team?
They're with Charlie, sir. That could be a problem.
We can't evac those trapped Marines until the air is clear. Let's be about it, people.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tyrant's legendary walkthrough for Halo Wars. Today we're doing Mission 10, entitled Shield World. Admittedly, I'm a little bit disappointed here. I thought we were done with the Flood. But apparently Halo Wars says differently, so we're on this mission. And not only are they more aggressive than last time around, but it's also time, starting you with a whopping 17 minutes, so you want to hurry up. Go ahead and start building turrets, supply pads, and of course you do want to upgrade your base to a fortress when you get a chance. Flame mortars are a great addition to your turrets here. Now, little side note, you can add to your time. There are 4 Forerunner pylons scattered around the map, and whenever you come across these things, Serena will give you what's called a gremlin. It's an EMP tank. And all you got to do is drive that tank next to the pylon. It'll give off a little EMP pulse, and magically you have another 5 minutes added to your timer. Now, this first one is pretty much a gimme. It's right next to you, and there's a reactor there as well to help save you a little bit of space and get your tech level up quickly. And unlike the last mission, you can't really use Hornets, even though we didn't use Hornets anyway, because the Flood swarms here are enormous. And the, whatever they call the jizz shooters, are freaking everywhere. So no, don't use those. Use tanks. I'm not going to bother upgrading the tanks all the way. Just canister shells should do the trick. You want to build as quickly as you can. You have 3 squads, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. In that order, there's Alpha right there. Now, unfortunately, it's really tough on Legendary to get to Alpha quick enough with a large enough force to rescue them. Which sucks, too, because if you actually manage to do it, you get a Grizzly tank out of it. So you don't get penalized for letting them die. So I would just, you know, if you can get to them, great, but I have not been able to do it on Legendary. So right now it would focus on your base, getting it protected. Even though at first you're not going to get attacked very much, those bombers, as far as I can tell, that's the only time they show up in this entire mission.
This is Alpha Platoon. We can't hold our position much longer.
So we're going to scroll over here. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, you got a grizzly tank and a few flame units over there. They actually hold out pretty long. Not the flame unit so much as the grizzly. But yeah, this mission's a lot tougher than the last one. You've got thrashers and swarms all over the place. The jizz buildings definitely don't help. And basically what you're going through here is these large swarms of flood are blocking you from getting to your troops. Once you clear out certain areas, your pelicans will start evacuating those troops.
Those pylons down there are generating the field we're in.
Okay, so that's your first signal that the pylon can be brought down by a gremlin that
Way ahead of you, sir.
Serena is going to give you.
I'm sending you a new
So those are the swarms right there. In theory, if you take out those swarms, once again, the pelicans can extract the corresponding team that's blocking them. And while that swarm in and of itself isn't that bad, we just don't have enough upgraded troops at this point to deal with both them and the jizz buildings at the same time. I stutter a little bit. I do apologize. I just got off a 12-hour shift, and I'm so tired that I could eat a horse. So go ahead and drive the gremlin to the X. It'll automatically EMP it for you. Now again, there are 4 of them around the map, and as a matter of fact, if you bring down all 4 of them, you get an achievement for it. But I mean, you can do that if you want to, but time is sort of, well, you only have a limited amount of it. Even the pylons do grant you time. So I usually on Legendary end up taking out either 2 or 3, just depending on how fast things are going. And they're on the way to rescuing my teams, or at least the path that I take. So the pylons are on different corners of the map. You've got one right there. You've got one not too far from where Alpha is. One just to the just to the north of Bravo. And the other one is not too far away from you either, but again, you've got a lot of flood between you and it. So don't waste your resources at this point. Focus on Bravo and Charlie. As far as I can tell, they do not get attacked. Or if they do, they don't get attacked viciously like Alpha Team did. As you can see, Alpha Team's already gone. So I'm going to start trying to advance just a little bit. Again, your Hornets aren't going to last long in these battles. So just be aware.
Scorpion ready for combat.
Alright, so we've got our field armory as well. We've got our tanks that we're upgrading to canister shells. The field armory is primarily there so you can upgrade your population from 30 to 40. You can upgrade your turrets as well if you want to, but they're going to get attacked by thrashers later on. So what I would do instead is divert your resources to building tanks. Maybe you leave 1 or 2 behind to help guard your base, and you should be in relatively good shape. You want to reserve the rest of your sources or resources to repairs. Now at first, like I said, you're not going to get attacked that much, at least not on the home front. And, you know, these swarms right here aren't going to do jack, you know what, to your tanks, so don't worry about it. Or at least the spores or whatever they are, not the swarms. The swarms are like spitters of some sort. They shoot some sort of acid at your tanks. And individually, it's not that bad, but when you got like dozens of them doing it, it's a problem. As you can see, one of our tanks is already suffering big time. Those buildings that are sort of being highlighted in white, those are the ones that you want to take out when you reach a cluster or whatever that is blocking your troops. And once you eliminate all those highlighted flood structures, that is when the rescue pelicans will arrive. You do want to do a little bit of micromanagement here. I'm going to yo-yo just a little bit back and forth. I don't want to put all of our tanks into the fray right at the moment. I do want to tear up some of these guys just so I can get to that other pylon, as well as have the option of having those other resources, those supplies, if I choose to have them. And I also prefer to approach Charlie by going up the left-hand side of the map right here. It seems a little bit safer than just going right down the middle. I've tried it that way. So we're going to take that out.
Multiple units.
And now we're going to build our field armory so we can go ahead and up our population. Up until then, all we had were supply pads, reactors, and the one vehicle depot. And again, your field armor is pretty much just for your population. You do have a cool new weapon from the Spirit of Fire. It's some sort of cryo bomb. It's really not that effective, but it can help slow down your enemies a little bit if you feel like you're getting overwhelmed. But ultimately, it's not going to help you a lot. There's another vehicle you have available to you called the Wolverine, which is fairly effective against the swarms, but it does cut down on your tank population. But yeah, you want to focus on one of these buildings at a time. Don't leave your tanks, well, sitting there doing whatever they want to do for too long. Like I said, there are a lot of these buildings here, and that's what makes this mission so difficult. They're just everywhere, and they're being guarded by these swarms at the same time. And as you get further into the mission, thrashers start coming out at you as well. So focus on repairs. Keep building tanks while you're doing it. Always, as long as you have the supplies, build tanks. Do not set the rally point to anywhere other than your base, because those tanks will defend your base while you're out there trying to cull through these jizz shooters. So this is a very fast-paced mission compared to the last two. Because while you're building, you are trying to advance at the same time, so you can beat that clock.
Enemy engagement.
And you can see right there the other pylon. You can see it just a little bit through the fog of war. And like I said, as soon as you actually get to it, you get a free gremlin. And you just have to manage to drive it there.
Pylon sighted. Marking on your display.
There we go. So we've cleared the path quite nicely there. Doing pretty well tank-wise. We haven't really lost too many at this point. Bravo team, as you can see, has some Marines and an elephant. And even if your elephant dies, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't count against you as far as I can tell. So we got our tank and our gremlin coming up for round 2. Pylon 2. Your gremlins can be destroyed. They're really not good for anything except for the CMP. I don't know if you use them any other time in the game, or if you can even build them outside of the game. It doesn't look like it. I don't think they're an option in the menu. I think Serena just sort of drops them down.
Gremlin in position. EMP in 3, 2, 1.
And like magic, we have 5 more minutes on the clock. And there's the box right there, the little black box. We'll probably go by and get that too on our way to rescue Charlie, or Bravo. Now, once you start getting towards Bravo territory, the fighting gets a lot more intense. Again, you're going to start dealing with thrashers, more of the jizz buildings, and larger swarms. So this is why you want to constantly be producing tanks, because you are going to need them. And unlike the last 2 missions, you really don't have the luxury to sit back and turtle in as long as you want to. So as you can see, those pulsating buildings right there are our targets. Once we get those out of the way, we can finally get our Marines out of there. Now, as you can see, I'm holding back just a little bit because just to the east of that, what looks like a grave mine structure, even though it's not, is a huge, massive swarm. I'm trying not to trigger them yet. I want to focus on these buildings first. Because with them out of the way, the swarms aren't quite as dangerous, just because you don't have all these other objects shooting at you. So I'm going to see if I can not disturb them. Shoot. Go back. Go back. Tiredness sinking in. Alright, so we got quite a few tanks at this point. definitely helping us out. We're doing pretty good so far. And there's that. Oh, Jesus. Okay. One of my tanks just sort of walked right into that one. Sorry, dude. And now the swarms are advancing. And look, they're all shooting at the same time. Very, very dangerous. Alright, so we're going to keep building more tanks. Sending them up here as need be. We've already lost a couple of tanks. Now the Thrashers are starting to get involved. These guys are pretty dangerous. They're not as effective against your tanks, but against structures, they are pretty much building killers. So at this point, alright. Unfortunately, our battle is getting a little bit ahead of us here, meaning that we're not able to produce enough tanks to keep this going. But you don't want to lose your ground here because flood buildings can respawn, and there we go, okay. Alright, so now we can get our little black box, get our elephant. My recommendation with the elephant is to send it back to the base, deploy it, have a few extra guns protecting your base for when the Thrashers start attacking later on. We only have we only have 2 tanks left at this point. So I'm going to send them up here. The swarms tend not to follow you there unless you piss them off. They seem to be protecting that one little area.
More resources required.
Okay, well, some of them did anyway. And there's a Thrasher. Okay, this is when the floods start attacking your structures. And this guy is taking them out pretty quickly. The attacks here will start to be constant after a while. So we're low on tanks, which is why I'm sending them all to this location. But once you're, fairly happy with the number of tanks that you have up there, go ahead and leave just 1 or 2 behind to deal with any Thrashers that attack your base. So we got the black box there. Now, of course, as I said earlier, I will be doing a separate guide for skulls and black boxes, all one video. But it never hurts to pick up a few on the way. They're still there no matter how many times you play the mission.
Local units.
Here we go.
Okay, we're starting to build our forces back up. No one is bothering us quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and send the elephant down if I can. Send it right there. And we've already lost 1 turret, and he's attacking our supply pad next, which is not good. We need those upgraded supply pads so we can keep producing tanks. Alright, so I'm going to direct my tank to go ahead and deal with this guy. Rebuild that turret. Put a flame mortar there. Again, if you want to upgrade your turrets, you can. It's just, I tend to like to use my resources a little bit more, and now they're attacking again. For building tanks rather than trying to upgrade my structures. Now, the reason those swarms are attacking now is because the elephant sort of stirred the hive, if you will. It bothered them. And oh, we got another Thrasher at this point. My turrets are not that effective right now against these guys. Again, this is why you want to use flame mortars. Now, initially, I thought that I was going to be using missile pods, but because of all the swarms and stuff. But the swarms don't really seem to attack, aside from the beginning, especially the bombers. It's all Thrashers at this point. You may end up luring a few swarms your way towards the end of the mission, but again, your tanks should be able to handle those without a problem. Our elephant's almost dead. I think he was, he probably went through some jizz buildings. So when he gets to the base, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deploy him so he's just a little bit of extra firepower to those Thrashers while we're in the process of building tanks. And now we got 2 Thrashers at the base. Not good. Turret's already down for the count. And they went right for the elephant. Okay. That sucks. Now they're going for the supply pad again. And they're at just enough of an angle that apparently my turret up there on the left-hand side won't attack it. It sucks. Surprisingly enough, the Thrashers seem to be ignoring the tank. They're just going right for the buildings, which is why I do call them building killers. They seem to care more about the structures than the units. Or maybe they're just scripted that way for this mission. I don't know. Okay, we have a few minutes left on the clock, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can rescue Charlie now.
I'm there. Enemy engagement. Targets. Moving up. Online.
And again, there's another Forerunner pylon around here as well.
Shrapnel flying. Canister loaded.
So we're just taking it one at a time.
Rolling out. On the move. I'm there. Here we go. Fueled up and
The
rolling.
more time you have, the better.
Hunting for targets. Attacking. Target locked. Engaging.
Local units.
Firing on target.
Local units.
Firing. Yes, sir.
Now this pylon unfortunately has one structure blocking it, but it's just one, so not that big of a deal. Oh, and he orgasmed. Great. Okay, so now we have a third one. Now you've got Spartans here. These guys can hold their own pretty well once you finally actually destroy the flood buildings, but you do want to be careful because they can get attacked very viciously if you're not watching. This one seems a little bit easier than the last one. There doesn't seem to be as many structures.
Here we go.
But I'm going to see if I can draw the swarms back just a little bit so I'm not dealing with both the swarms and the jizz machines at the same time.
Orders. Powered up.
Now I have to give Ensemble Studios a little bit of credit here. They really did flesh out the flood in this game, no pun intended, by showing us all these different, pure forms and just how they take over the environment. You saw a little bit of this in High Charity's, the High Charity mission in Cortana in Halo 3, but they really just show you everything they've got here.
More resources required.
Not in that way. Stop thinking that way. I don't think anyone wants to see what the flood's got. Looks like a Thrasher's going after my Gremlin too. There's really not a lot I can do though. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can... Whoa, uh-oh. You can lure the swarms back just a little bit, and while you're retreating, of course, you're still shooting at them. It's a little bit more difficult to take one swarm out at a time. There's the cryo bomb right there, just trying to slow down the jizz buildings just a little bit. It stops them temporarily. I don't think it really does any damage, if any. Or does very little damage, if any. Our tanks are getting hammered right now. There's only 4 of them, too. But because we're starting to run a little bit short on time, I want to see if I can just deal with the buildings as quickly as possible while repairing these guys. Alright. So we cleared the buildings for Unit 3 at this point. What? Uh-oh, the gargoyles are attacking. Oh, come on. You guys should have seen that coming.
This is Charlie Platoon. We'll come in on our own. Keep those engines hot.
Now, once again, if you just send them straight back to the base, they can typically hold their own pretty well.
All units.
So I'm just going to send all units back here. Because now, again, your base is going to start getting attacked a little bit more aggressively, and I just like to have as much defense here as possible.
Local units.
Especially since on their way back, they may end up bringing swarms or thrashers with them that were trying to kill them along the way. So even with 4 tanks, we actually did pretty well on that last one.
Turret complete.
Basically, you just want them to outrun the swarms and the jizz machines. They're not going to be sitting in one place, so they should be in fairly good shape. And again, the Spartans do take fairly good care of them. So we have one little last dash here, and there's a spore cloud. Fantastic. Okay, so we got more thrashers and swarms coming at the same time. This is why you want all your units back to base.
Enemy engagement.
And I just realized that we have a down Spartan. Crap. Which means we got to go back for him before the timer runs out.
Local units.
We're running out of time.
I know we're running out of time. Stop nagging me, woman! Alright, so I'm going to try to send a tank or two over there to resurrect our Spartan. It really wouldn't have paid to keep one of our guys there, since you have to wait for that Spartan to regain at least 50% of health before you can resurrect him or revive him. So I'm going to see if I can get these guys as close to the Pelican as possible around our Spartans. I don't want them to die. So I'm going to send a tank over here to rescue our good Spartan friend. I don't know which one it is. While these guys are just battling like crazy to keep the base and units alive. This is kind of epic. Kind of reminds me of that scene in Halo, or not Halo, Matrix Revolution. Where all those mechs are just fighting the squid machines or whatever. And yeah, I know everyone hates that movie, but it was still a pretty good scene, you have to admit. So the battle is getting a little bit more intense here. Our tank is almost there. Almost there. He's getting chased by a thrasher. Not good. Okay, our Spartan is back. We only have 2.5 minutes left on the clock, so we got to get back to the base quickly. If you run out of time, the mission is over.
On the way.
Getting pretty intense here. His shield's almost gone. That thrasher is going after the tank, thankfully. But the tank and the Spartan are just tearing him up. Spartans never die. They just go missing in action. Take that. It looks like we might actually make it. There's 2 minutes left. Got one little mad dash left. Oh, and we got a spore cloud. No, no, no. Alright, get to the Pelican. Get to the Pelican.
You bet.
And again, once you get to the Pelican, mission is pretty much over at this point. We did it with a minute 40 left. Not bad. Alright. Mission accomplished. So that is Shield World on Legendary. Very intense mission. Very flood heavy. That's no saves. No deaths, or at least not on my part. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please rate, comment, and subscribe to MythicTyrant.com. And stay tuned for more Halo videos every single week. We are now 10 out of 15 missions down with Halo Wars. Only 5 more to go. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.